Welcome to the Persecution Report. I'm Greg Musselman. Coming up.
We may have lost everything, but we will never turn our backs on Christ. I still have joy, and I'm thanking God despite my circumstances.
In spite of the violence and rising death toll in Eritrea, India, many Christians are standing firm in their faith. Later, the followers of Jesus in northern Iraq are suffering under a wave of militant Islam.
There are people and groups behind the scenes that we cannot see who want to drive the Christians out of Iraq. This is nothing short of an ethnic cleansing of a specific group of people.
Those reports are coming up, but first, these stories. A 25-year-old humanitarian aid worker in Somalia who converted from Islam to Christianity was murdered by militant Muslims. Mansour Muhammad, who became a follower of Christ in 2005, was beheaded in Manya Folka village. Muhammad and a driver were intercepted by members of the Al-Shabaab Islamic militant group. The driver managed to flee the scene, but Muhammad was captured. In the afternoon, 5 masked men armed with guns and swords dragged the handcuffed Mansour in front of the village crowd. One militant recited the Quran as he proclaimed Muhammad an apostate for leaving Islam and also claiming he was a spy for Ethiopian soldiers. The militants chanting Allah Akbar then beheaded Muhammad and cheered while holding up his severed head in front of a horrified crowd. Pastor Siva Malai Gunish of the Elohim Gospel Church on the outskirts of Colombo, Sri Lanka, was recently found dead. The 33-year-old pastor was reported missing when he didn't return home from a religious meeting in the town of Kadawatha. Pastor Gunish's brother was found dead in a nearby location. The pastor leaves behind a wife, 4-year-old son, and 2-year-old daughter. The Christian community in Sri Lanka is concerned and saddened by the violence that has claimed the lives of several Christian clergymen in recent months, including Pastor Neil Eddie Rasingha. Pastor Neil was gunned down by 2 assailants outside his home in Ampura. His wife, Shiromi, was shot in the attack but survived. Information received by our partners in Sri Lanka indicate the murder of the pastor was a contract killing done by people angry with his gospel ministry. The death toll of Christians killed in Eritrea, India continues to rise, with some sources claiming that more than 500 have died and 18,000 injured. Militant Hindus have conducted anti-Christian attacks across 12 states. Now, as we've been reporting, the attacks began in August after a Hindu leader was murdered. Although Maoist guerrillas claimed responsibility, Hindu militants targeted Christians for reprisals. The militants want Hinduism to be the only religion in India. Mobs are trying to force Christians to convert to Hinduism on the threat of death. Tens of thousands have been driven from their homes. Some of those who survived the attacks are sharing disturbing and distressing stories.
They asked him, "Will you deny Christ and become a Hindu?" He said no. Then I saw the Hindu mob pour gasoline on my brother-in-law and they burnt him alive.
They surrounded the church and within minutes the whole building was on fire.
I could hear them coming towards my house and chanting, "Come out, Christians, you don't belong here. If your God is real, come out and face us."
They broke into the house and started beating me. Then they dragged me out front and pulled out a sword. Another person had an axe in his hand.
All I could do was grab my 3 children and run. We ran for our lives into the jungle. We spent nights hiding without food or water.
In this remote eastern region of India, Hindu militants are accused of a deliberate and systematic campaign to eradicate Christians from the land.
Every single Christian denomination has been attacked. Our schools, our colleges, our orphanages, everything that Christians own, Christian home, Christian institution, Christian churches have been attacked.
At the root of the conflict, say Christian leaders, are efforts by Hindu militants to stop lower caste Hindus, known as untouchables or Dalits, from converting to Christianity.
The Hindu mob wanted us to convert back to Hinduism. They told us that if we became Hindu and rejected Christianity, we could stay. Otherwise, they would burn our homes and we would have to leave the village.
Dalits make up 1/5 of India's 1 billion plus population. They live on the margins of society and are often described by Hindus as less than human. Christians say that lower caste Hindus convert willingly, and through God's grace and love, they discover that they are free from 3,000 years of discrimination under the caste system.
So when we talk of what is happening to Dalit, it's a freedom movement. And what happens in a freedom movement? They're seeking any one way which will make them free. Christianity offers them one way.
The Hindu gods did nothing for me. They didn't bring me any peace. They could not answer my problems. But in Christianity, I found true peace and freedom from the Hindu caste system.
But some Hindus have accused Christians of converting Dalits against their will.
They use bribery and money to trick Dalits into becoming Christians. Conversions and Christian missionaries are a threat to India.
Prakash Sharma is one of the key leaders in Bajrang Dal, an influential militant Hindu group that's suspected of spearheading the attacks against Christians.
My message to Christians in India is stop your conversions. The violence in Orissa is a reaction by Hindus to these conversions.
Militant Hindus have warned the Christians who are coming back to their villages, renounce Christ or die.
We will never do that. We may have lost everything, but we will never turn our backs on Christ. I still have joy, and I'm thanking God despite my circumstances. Please pray for us that we can go back to our destroyed homes, rebuild them, and be a stronger witness for God among the non-Christians of our village.
Please continue to pray for the Christians of Orissa as they return to live amongst their persecutors. Eritrean Christians continue to be targeted by authorities and imprisoned for their faith, according to a report from Open Doors. 36-year-old Tekles Embet Gebreab Kiflam, a member of the Full Gospel Church, was detained for approximately a year at the Wea Military Confinement Center, died recently of malaria. He reportedly suffered harsh military punishment and was denied medical attention. Authorities arrested 65 believers belonging to house churches in the weeks before Kiflam's death. Officials made the arrest in 5 different locations, working off a list of names that sources believe were provided by informants around the country. Earlier this year, a 37-year-old Christian woman named Azieb Simon died of malaria following 6 months of imprisonment and torture in the Wea Military Center. Still to come on the persecution report. Iraqi Christians under fire.
We are glad that Saddam is gone, but I must tell you that at least we felt safe back then. No one ever dared to attack us. Now we are being killed.
If you live in Canada and don't yet receive our free monthly newsletter about today's persecuted church, sign up today at the top right of the screen or go to persecution.net. There's simply no better way to learn about the faith and courage of our brothers and sisters around the world and how you can stand together with them. And you can also share the newsletter with friends and family. Sign up today.